So try to searching things as an isolationist. Well, there is isolationist, meaning that wherever those information coming by, it is more isolated away from to get thinking about like the house in somewhere middle of the nowhere. It's not the middle of nowhere, it is always somewhere. But the example is always relative in a certain kind of what is isolated. Alright, there is different kind of isolation. Example, if into the island locating in the ocean, and this island would have exactly the one very specific kind of animal species which couldn't be found any other location in example of one planet. Alright, this isolation species it would be an endogenous valuation. This would be a small 2 square kilometer island, and therefore we have except one animal species which would be only in that very area to be found. So there is no existing species members any other, and it's a very remote island. Example, over 500 kilometers from any other islands. If those are land animals and such a kind, it is always more and more a longevity away from the lineage of the living taxons. Yes. Alright, the cranides always. When the person is to terrain struggling to finding about the importance, to knowledge, to struggling find about the meaningfulness, to the purpose for the life, to interest the purpose to the knowing what is really some a decision, something what the person is putting himself up to, and try to realize it, that those factors, the cause, the nature of causes, more about the psychological desires, are causing those needs, and therefore able to more to be a widespread knowledge into the general all kind of potential knowledge in the world. There is such a huge amount of it, and because it has so much of the knowledge, it is a kind of the friends always in a affinity amount could be omitted, and if it's enough, it is always this. And this is the thing what exactly to the current brains which are not at infinite size, with the finite brains are sometimes or sooner or later have to be give up the current knowledge. Education knowledge how much the brains are absolutely able efficiently use it all the time. Example, if we just say if every single neutron synapse would be all the time activated at the same time, it would be taking more energy to able to accelerate such a thing to happen. It would be taking a huge amount of energy to simply having all the new acceleration, and therefore it would be taking so much energy needed to have synapses to be activated every single second, except in one given moment. There would be a training over hours of energy output with the person, the physical hyper, the supply. But therefore, attention to getting in the speeding up the thoughts, it is increasing the oxygen output, it increases the glucose output, it is increasing general all kind of fluid as they should to the fluid supply to brains. Alright, because the brains work it its own way. It is very neuro complex, it's a neuroplastic, always able to lead it to taking and more adapting for a sort of a life, sort of the conditioning to the surrounded nature environment, which are trying to its own ends. Its own end is trying to first do the three kind of functions. The first thing is you're trying to be first to survive and try to simply exist. The second thing it might be to the prosper, might be to the fruits, more to thrive into its own individual sake. And third thing might be a revolution. If such of a system is needed to the expanding or needed to the longevity and needed to be example to holding its own space, it needs to be there for also wait. Alright, It was such of the place. The person, the one of the ninth mind. There's a ninth mind. Ninth, very self-limiting of a knowledge, if one of the mind. The person with the friends, limited experience, limited amount of, in a general living. Or such a person who has seemingly to have opinion much less to be existing, lesser of cause to be an therefore to knowledge verification. But such application will be exposed for the further to the knowledge, the idea, information which would be similar to the obscure, the singletos moment, to the shock, the simple shock of the getting realities, getting kind of the beliefs of the self, or to get a kind of ideation, to get a kind of it would be self-contradiction of the life, this contradiction of the get an idealist. For example, all the things in the world is idealistification. Everything has its own ideas. Therefore, except for one person think of words to be a pointless, purposeless point of a place. What person would be think the words is very self-limiting. It would be always better think is a self a shortcut to somehow by something, some kind of a force within the nature that or is the person is exceptionally to already get a kind of a viewpoint, a fatalist education. It's just a simple allowing to the nature of its own get a kind of self-limiting nature to taking an opinion and to limiting its own potential, which means that all the potential could be maximized. Maximize the eating, feeding, maximize it of the power of it is one, and it would be willing to simple holding standing by. It's a very limited on the thing. It's a very limited way how it is, and are not willing to any more or any person to try to take more catch up for him or to maximize its own affluence. So this kind of attention to willing to always stand by its own neglect, ignorance, and the smallness. Well, here it is in the other side. Alright, in this very nature of what are the chances to able to have the cutting down forces? Such of those forces are seemingly to the very simple things as are the competition, eventually competition relation isn't to favor to most of these units which are in existing. They might be having coming to process of becoming as such what they are because of competition, because the nature has working on. They think that they are winners of some kind of a nature competition, but no matter how much they are a transitional object, like all existing thing is transitional object. They have no stability in a universe. In a universe of constant flux and constant, all the things would be losing to their being in a moment of a certain future of a cause, because the nature is so changing that those things cannot hold the state together. The forces are all the time breaking down. Here we have a nature with its existential reality, with its exceptionally to constant of a change, to exceptionally always a discriminating of a status quo. Discriminate cause a gravitine of the beings. It is never end cause and effect kind of world where all the things always transformation get a new kind of beings, and nature has get a kind of things which are limiting its own.